Rants, raves, and rock and roll.
That's right. It's time to rant, rave, and rock and roll. It's Wednesday, October 10th, 2012, and you're listening to Rants, Raves, and Rock and Roll right here on Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Nancy Reid and Lisa Smith. I always say the crazy mother-daughter team. We're the publishers of BigBlendMagazines.com, and this is why we're crazy. We got 10 online radio magazines, including Rants, Raves, RockMagazine.com. And, of course, we're traveling the country now for 5 years on our Spirit of America tour to make sure our national parks are protected and preserved. I think it's going to get extended because we just got an extra park. We've got 397 national park units, and now it's 398.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now we just got to kick some Congress butt to make sure it's funded.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that on our show tomorrow, but I'm very excited today. We've got some great guests. Of course, we've got the David Bully Bowers with us here as co-host. Bully, how you doing?
Doing just great, thanks. How are things out there in Butterfly Land?
Well, we got butterflies everywhere. I mean, I don't know what's going on in Tucson.
Yes.
Well, I think
Migration
it's the garden
time.
gnomes. It's the garden gnomes.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's also hump day, and that's what they're doing out there.
Yes. In fact, one landed on Nancy's something and decided to do that. Yeah. So it's hump day here with butterflies and Pacifico beer. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. Very excited today. We've got some great musicians joining us. We've got Mia Vermillion, an incredible blues singer, joining us from the Pacific Northwest. We've got Lucy Levinson, who's the lead singer of the LA-based band Evo Love. Of course, we've got Shannon Deering joining us. She's the author of The Gathering, Book 1 of the Leah Failed Chronicles. And she's got some rants.
I know.
She's always got some rants. And we've got Mike Dunmeyer joining us. He's the executive director of Ocean Champions, and he wants to sink Sutherland, I believe it is. Anyway, so I do believe we've got our next guest joining us on the line here, and this is what's exciting. Two of our favorite musicians when it comes to road trip music that have personally gotten me through stuff when driving, tornadoes, you name it. Ryan Bingham, Johnny Mastro, both are on the line at the same time. Johnny Mastro. Johnny, you've been on the show with us. God, you were before the show. You've known us since magazine days, print magazine days. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing great. Beautiful day here in Long Beach.
Well, right on. And I do believe we've got Mr. Ryan Bingham. A lot of you know him, for his music from Crazy Heart and The Weary Kind, that great song. I've been listening to his music, like I said, has gotten me through a lot of stuff driving around this country, especially up to...
Mostly when she's lost.
Mostly when I'm lost, driving to Texas and up to the Sequoias, you name it. Ryan, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, good. Glad to have you on the show. And I have to tell you, like I was saying, Johnny and you are two of our favorite musicians. We do a lot of driving. We've got a 5-year national tour we're doing. And I think, you guys, your music is like they're old friends for me when I drive because I'm the driver. You can go through any tornado in the world and get through it. So thank you for that, both of you on that. But Ryan, I have to tell you, this new album has to go with me back to the Sequoias. I don't know if it's the cover. Is it the cover? What's up with the cover, Tomorrowland?
Oh, that's a place up kind of where I live, and it's I don't know, kind of part of my life has just been kind of, most of it's been kind of spent outdoors, out in kind of wide open spaces, and I've recently, over the past few years, moved to Los Angeles, and have kind of been in more of an urban environment, so it's just kind of a mix of the two, and kind of just kind of part of my life now, I guess.
Cool. Now, I was saying earlier that we're on this tour of national parks to keep them preserved, and I was listening, the other night, the one song on your album that totally just gets right to me is Too Deep to Fill. And, you're talking about poisoning the sand. We lived up in Joshua Tree area, and, that area, we watch what's going on in our deserts right now. We just came back. And by the way, how dare you play Pappy and Harriet's after we left?
I know. Like within a day.
I kind of snuck in there on you.
But that song, you talk a lot about the environment in there, but it's do you feel that way?
Yeah, I do. I like to spend a lot of time in national parks, and I like to go camping a bit and be outdoors. It's always great to get out there and clear your head, and I just kind of appreciate those places, and then we have them, and it's kind of sad to see some of the stuff that's going down in the world, and but it's just kind of a harsh reality, I guess, these days.
Yeah, it's a sad stuff. Now, I have to bring this up. Tomorrowland, it kind of brings me back to Roadhouse Sun, your album, Roadhouse Sun, a little bit, because there's that. It's got a lot more rock in it, but you've still got a lot of touching music and a lot of stories in there still, very personal, deep stories, I believe. How are your fans taking the change in music?
It's been interesting. It's always, interesting when you do something a little bit different. I mean, for me, it's not really that far of a stretch from some of my earlier stuff. But, it's kind of been both sides. Some people love it and some people hate it. You can't really make everybody happy. But it's been a lot of fun playing these songs live, and it was kind of a big focus for me. That last record was really stripped down and acoustic, and a lot of the songs are really personal, and sometimes they're just a little bit tough to get through, when you're playing them every night on the road, night after night. So I was really focused on having some fun with this record, and it always seems when you get the electric guitars in there and bring the tempos up, you can add a bit of a, sense of humor to it as well. So it's been going good. We've had some great shows this past week, and it's still pretty new, so people are kind of still, learning the songs and adjusting to it. But for the most part, it's been pretty good.
I think it's badass, totally. I mean, and you know what? We'd like to, guess who's knocking on your door after you wake up in the morning and you're like, you know what, I just want to write Congress every single day and send them that song. And I think your video should have Big Bird in it.
Well, thank you.
I love that. But it's interesting when you're talking about, even the recording of your album. I know you did it in Malibu. Isn't it Chris Christopherson's old house that you recorded it in?
Yeah, well, a friend of mine's place up there, and it's kind of an older kind of ranch house from the kind of 70s, and it's kind of got, the old wood floors and high ceilings in there, and she was kind of going to remodel it in a few years, and it was empty, and we asked her if we could record in there, and while we were setting up, she was going through some of the old building kind of permits and, looking at some of the previous owners, and it was originally, I guess, Chris Christopherson's house back in the 70s, so kind of added a little twist to it, and we were in there setting stuff up.
I think it's neat because I was reading up that you were, kind of just sitting down and doing everything, just get it done in the house. And Johnny, you've done a lot of recording like that too.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to record for this. For my kind of music, it's and probably Ryan's too. It just gives it a natural feel, when you do it kind of live in a comfortable environment,
Yeah. Ryan, I know you're on your way to Atlanta, right?
Yeah, we're heading over there in the morning.
Okay, so how was Nashville?
It was great, you never know about some, music towns, sometimes you don't know, like, if the crowds, if they're mostly kind of musicians and kind of people judging you, it sometimes can be a little bit stuffy, but it was actually really great. The crowd was awesome, and we had a great show, and, it was a good time.
Oh, right on. I know you're going to Atlanta, see Louisville, Kentucky. You got quite the lineup, and then you're going. This is fun. I think it feels like you do so much on Facebook and Twitter with your fans, which I think is really good that you have that connection. And I was looking like, you're camping here, you're going here, you're doing that. And like I said, we missed you, I think, by a day when you went and played at Pappy and Harriet's and when you were up in the Sequoia region. And then Johnny, we've been missing him, too, because he just flies back and forth to Europe, too. But you're actually going to do Europe as well in November.
Yeah, but we're going over there in November and getting across the pond. So we're always looking forward to getting over there and traveling around. It's interesting waking up in a different country every day.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, I want to ask you, who thinks up your video ideas?
Well, my wife, she's a director. She went to film school, and she does all the photography and directs all the videos. And we're kind of very much a kind of home team and do all that stuff together.
I love the videos. I think they're awesome. And I'm a person that doesn't necessarily like music videos. I like them when they show the band. I don't like them when they're like tarantulas walking over people's heads for no reason. I just don't. I belong on the sci-fi town, but I really like it when it's part of the band and you can see the band and who's playing. And just, I really kudos to her and you for that because the videos are awesome.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, and a lot of good feel in there, too. And we've been watching them for years, and it's just awesome to see, that each one change up, You know, and especially Guess Who's Knocking. I mean, I really want to go off on that.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. It's always a learning thing.
You know, like Occupy Wall Street's song should be Guess Who's Knocking on Your Door.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that song.
I actually wrote that about a friend of mine. It's a young kid that I know that's from Venice, actually, and he kind of grew up, kind of had a pretty kind of rough upbringing. His mother kind of fell out with drugs and alcohol real bad, and he never really knew his dad. He was just kind of this kid from the streets, this skateboard kid, and just, you know, I think him growing up young like that and kind of, you know, in this world when you don't really have that much support and help and just kind of trying to come up through the system and fight through it when you're young and kind of make a life for yourself. And it was really about him and kind of a lot of kids that are down there on the street. There's a lot of homeless kids that are, you know, living down around that Venice area. And I spent a lot of time kind of walking around down there and hanging out and gotten to know some of those kids. And it was really kind of just, you know, about kids in that situation and them kind of growing up in the system and just kind of trying to fight their way through it.
And I found that a lot in your song Rising of the Ghetto as well, had that vibe and that message as well.
Yeah, I guess I just, you know, I kind of grew up that same way and kind of always lived on the darker side of towns growing up, and it's just kind of something, you know, I always kind of related to, and, you know, still kind of come from that place in my past and in my memory when I'm.
Mm-hmm. And Ryan, what about travel? Because I know you've done a lot of travel, obviously, with your music, too. I know you ended up in Paris and lost all your money and had, what, like $10 or something in your back pocket? Like, what now? But
I went over there to work in a...
Go ahead.
I went over there to work in a Buffalo Bills Wild West show at Euro Disney in Paris, and ended up living with 3 Navajo Indians and 2 chick ropers from Chihuahua, Mexico. Pretty interesting time. Yeah.
So how do you think about travel? Do you think if you didn't travel, you know, what would you think about your music now? How much it's influenced your music and just your life as a human being?
A lot, you know. I mean, it's. I think that when you're traveling that much and you wake up in a different town every day, I mean, you just get exposed to a lot really fast. You know, you meet a lot of different people from all over the world, and you know, you experience different cultures, and you know, meet people with different points of views and different takes on different things, and so you always kind of take that into consideration. You know, at the end of the day, writing songs. You know, and I guess if I lived on a ranch out in New Mexico, and I'd probably just write songs about riding my horse out into the sunset. But that's unique, you know. I guess traveling around and, you know, experiencing different things, that's where the songs really come from for me, you know, at the end of the day, just writing about the places that I've been and where I've gone and, you know, kind of just trying to process the world and how it makes you feel. So it definitely adds a lot. And, you know, there's a lot to write about out there if you just look around, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And I wanted to ask too, you know, you're doing a lot of travel, but what about Boudreaux? What's going to happen to Boudreaux when you go to England, you know, on your tour?
He's going with us. He's our road dog. Hell yeah, he's going everywhere.
I love Boudreaux. You got to keep posting photos of Boudreaux. I love it. And
yeah, we've been having fun with him.
Oh God! And now, what about the new band? Because I know, you know, I've seen, you know, there's a lot of comments, but I'm seeing a lot of people going, "Wow, you guys are rocking the house." You know, and you know, I'm used to seeing Paul back there, and you know, didn't he open a bar or something?
Yeah, he did. Him and his brother and sister, they opened a really kick-ass bar in Fort Worth called the Magnolia Motor Lounge, and they've got live music 7 nights a week and food, and his sister has also just had a baby, and so he's a brand new uncle. And Elijah is doing a solo project, and Corby as well. They're doing solo projects. We've been on the road pretty hard for the past 10 years, and those guys, you know, we just all think deserved a break, you know, and they all wanted to kind of work on some of their own projects, and it was just a kind of a good time, you know, if everybody kind of settle in and do some stuff on their own for a bit. So, you know, we've always been more of a family than a band. You know, we're all, you know, brothers. So it's always been, you know, our friendship relationship's been a lot. It's on a different level other than music, you know, at the end of the day. So it's just kind of one of those things. We all kind of wanted to take a little break and do some other stuff, and we'll get back together in the future and do some more projects next year.
On Tomorrowland, It's your own label, Actor Bingham Records. So where was the choice in that? I always get excited when I see someone go off and go, you know what, it's my deal.
Yeah, it's just a lot more accessible, I guess, for musicians and, I guess my situation. I mean, I've always, really depended on, making our living on the road, playing live shows and things like that. And it hasn't really always been about record sales and radio play and things like that. So, with just social media and the internet these days, it's a lot, easier to access your fans, and get in touch and let them know when you're coming to town and when you have new music and things. And so it's kind of, I don't know, for what we do, it just works best for us, and me and my wife are running that together, and it's just, I don't know, we're just kind of home teaming it. It feels really good.
That's like Nancy and I. That's how we are. We've got our magazines and stuff, but it's the two of us, and and then we got our friends out there that help us, like Bowie. Got to have that, So I think you've had such a great career, and I think now, where you're at, it's just for me as a listener, I would just appreciate it when, someone keeps growing and changing in music. I'm one of those that go, oh, cool, man, you still got that same sound in there, but, things are growing and changing. It's exciting. Johnny, remember when I talked to you about Willie Kellogg? He's a drummer for Moby Grape and, Flying Burrito Brothers and all those bands. And when he first heard you, Johnny, he was going, okay, the Mama's Boys, oh, my gosh, how are they going to beat that? And you guys keep going and keep going. And that, to me, that's what makes road trip music.
We need a lot of road trip music.
Ryan, what do you listen to on the road?
Is he there?
Ryan, did you
Hello?
go? Yeah, Ryan?
Oh, no, I'm here. I'm sorry, I missed your question.
Okay, well, I said, what do you listen to on the road when you travel?
Oh, man, a lot of different stuff. I like everything from Bob Marley to Bob Wills. So it's I'm always just kind of interested in listening to whatever. I've really been into this guy, Rodriguez. He's not really a new guy. He's been around for quite a bit, but kind of got, rediscovered. And me and my wife went to the LA Film Festival and saw this great documentary about him, and I've really been digging his music lately.
Well, I'm excited because he's actually come out here. People got to see who he is here. I grew up in South Africa, and he was, just everybody knew him. When I got over here, when you leave countries, you kind of lose things, especially Africa. And when we got over here, it was so hard to get his music. I'm like, what the hell, He's like Bob Dylan to me, What do you mean you don't have Rodriguez? And nobody knew.
It was amazing, I'd never heard of him, and we went to see this documentary, and then he was actually there, and so after the filming, he came out and played some songs live, and the movie it just blew us away. So it was it's an incredible story, and his music really amazing.
I know. Last question. I know you're on the run with everything on your tour here, but one thing I want to ask you is now that you've done a ton of travel. Now you've got your home, you got your wife, everything's kind of changing up for you, and I know it's been a lot of craziness with Crazy Hearts and all of that happening too. Well-deserved, though, really well-deserved, but having your home and being able to sit there and just bust out and play and just, has it changed? For me, I've always had that dream of, having this, rocking the band on top of a house over a river. When we were in Three Rivers, California, we were at the B&B there, Three Rivers B&B, and I'm like, wait a minute, I could actually just set up a band right on top here and play to the river and say hi to the people across the river. I want that. So is that how it feels for you now?
It does in a way. I didn't have a home for a long time, so it's really been, really been nice for me to have a place to hang my hat at the end of the day and kind of have a family and all that stuff. So it's really been something really special for me to be able to be home and kind of reflect on the places that I've been in my life and write songs and kind of get away from it all for a bit. So I've really been happy and been having a lot of fun writing songs and playing music and just kind of learning and practicing. I really feel like I've still got a long way to go and a lot to learn, and so it's been cool to have a kind of a place just to kind of sit at home and wood shop with some of that.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Neat. Johnny, I wanted to make sure. Do you have any questions or comments for Ryan?
No, I think he's such a great songwriter, and his voice too is just so beyond his years. That I heard him when I saw that movie Crazy Heart. I just flipped over that the theme song, and I had to go find out who it was, and that's how I got introduced to his music. And so it's just a real pleasure to to have him on the show, I guess. So but I'm a big fan, Ryan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And
he writes like the old country guys. He writes and sings like the guys that meant it, years ago. It's really really cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. We just get to talk to you while you're here, Ryan. But it's true. When the very first album I got was Mescalito, then Roadhouse Sun, then Junkie Star, now Tomorrowland, right? But Mescalito, we drove from southern Arizona on Aravaca, and you can go right to the border of Mexico, and I was driving through the hills out there, and I was just like, now this is the music for here. To me, it's like, driving is like a movie with the right music. That's how I got there.
That's very much where it started. I'm from New Mexico originally, out there in the desert. I'm an old desert runner from way back, so those places out there leave a lot of room for imagination, and it's always that kind of scenery and that kind of landscape and just kind of never-ending sunsets and things like that. It's definitely been kind of imprinted in my brain, those images.
Oh, right on. Bully Bowers, do you have a question for Ryan?
Yes, actually I did. Ryan, it's a pleasure being able to sit and talk to you and hear your stories. I know everybody knows the road from Hobbs, New Mexico to Hollywood is, that's just the main line. Everybody makes that trip. What I'm curious about, if you've ever seen Hobbs, New Mexico, you know what I'm talking about. What I'm curious about, though, is a lot of people discovered you through Crazy Heart, which was, to overwork an overworked word, awesome. What I'm curious about is, how did that opportunity present itself for you to transition from your role as a musician doing your thing to stepping up into what we would refer to as the big time and scoring a major motion picture?
It was interesting. I got a call from the director, actually. He had, I guess, got a hold of my first record, Mescalito, and was just a fan of the music. And he called me up one day and invited me to lunch, and I went and met with him, and he gave me a copy of the script, and he told me, just about the film and what was going on, and they were kind of looking for some music, and just kind of basically left it at that. He said, if you can come up with a song or write anything, I'd love to have some input. And I think I went on the road for a couple of weeks after he gave me that script, and I read it, and just started coming up with the Weary Kind song, and I think a couple of months had actually gone by, and I hadn't really heard from him or talked to him, and I'd sitting at home, and I recorded the song at home and called him up, and I said, hey, I got this song I want to send you, and I recorded it, and I could send it to you in the mail. And he said, well, are you at home in Los Angeles? And I said, yeah, I'm at home right now. And he said, well, we're all over here at T-Bone's house. Why don't you just bring it on over? And so I just literally kind of got in my truck and drove over there to T-Bone's house and knocked on the door, and I just kind of thought I would drop it off to him, and that'd be it. But T-Bone actually answered the door, and he said, come on in here. And I walked in, and it was T-Bone and Stephen Bruton and Jeff Bridges and all these music supervisors and the director, and they were all in there listening to music for the film. And he just went right straight away and put the CD on the stereo and played the song in front of all those people while I was in the room. And he kind of looked around the room after that, and he said, man, I think you might have something there. And he said, would you mind, playing it for us live right now? And I said, well, I guess I can do that. And so I sat down on the couch and just played it for him. And he kind of looked around again. He goes, man, I think that's the song. He goes, that's it. And so we sat around for the next 3 or 4 hours and kind of finished the song up. And then that was it. The rest was history. We just kept on going.
Right on.
Wow.
That's
out of a movie.
Yeah.
That's a movie.
It was pretty intense.
You know
that
what?
kind of exemplifies
that
the statement we've heard from a lot of our guests in the business, and that is the fact the best way to make it is to keep playing everywhere, every opportunity you can, and the more people you reach, the better chance the right ones are going to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we always figured that. There's a lot of people that like music, and they can't always, come to you or wherever you live, so we just figured we'd hit the road and, go play wherever we could to people and, just kind of have that, I guess, you know, how are you going to be in the right place at the right time if you don't ever put yourself in any places?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You know, that's how you grow. I dig it. Okay, so Ryan, you're not allowed to leave without your rant and your rave.
Without my rant and my rave?
Yeah, you got to have a rant.
I don't know what
Okay, you don't know what a rant is? Okay, like what's pissing you off right now?
What's pissing me off? Oh man, but I'm actually pretty happy right now. There ain't a too lot I get worked up about these days. It seems like that's kind of the stuff that I've been through in the past and the rough. I'm just kind of happy to be able to be out here playing music and doing what I do for a living. I feel pretty lucky. I don't really have too much to bitch about, I guess.
Hey, that's good. I dig that. I could dig that. And then what are you in a rave about?
I'd like to rave about this Rodriguez guy. You know, I know he's been around for a long time, and a lot of people are just, discovering him, over here. But I really think he's a really unique individual and songwriter, and his music, is going to touch a lot of people once they discover him. So I'd love to rave about him a bit.
Now, are you going to do a bootleg video of one of, you've been doing some of those bootlegs. They're great. And I love that left-handed.
Yeah, I should. I didn't even think about that. Man, that's a good idea. I think I'll do that.
Cool. Please do. I think it'd be great.
All right, I will do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And, anytime you want to call in and let us know how your tour is going, please do. We're happy, excited for you. And we're going to play Heart of Rhythm. Now, this has really got a lot of rock in it.
Yeah, I wanted to have some fun with this record. I was listening to a lot of rock. I was listening to a lot of, like, The Clash and Black Flag and Zeppelin and stuff when I was making this record. So it was kind of my inner 16-year-old kid was coming out a bit.
I think that's for a lot of the songs, but I have to say Flower Bomb too. I mean, these songs, this is gonna stick for a long, long time. It's gonna be one of those albums that you're just gonna keep going back to. So it's been an absolute honor, and here it is, Heart of Rhythm. Thanks so much, and travel safe, and
thanks, Ryan.
And rock steady, dude.
All right, thanks so much for your support. I appreciate it. Nice meeting all you guys.
All right, see you.
Great having you here. Thank you.
All right, bye. Have a good one.
You too. Here it is, Heart of Rhythm, everyone, Tomorrowland. Go get it. It is truly an amazing album, and you can go to his website, binghammusic.com, binghammusic.com. Go check out his videos. Go type in, if you get it right through his website, also sign up for his newsletter. He's on Facebook under Bingham Music, Ryan Bingham, also on Twitter at Bingham, Ryan Bingham, so go there. And check him out. Go get it. Go get this album. It rocks.
Go see a concert. Jeez.
Yeah, go connect with him on tour. Here it is, Heart of Rhythm. album Tomorrowland, and you can get it right now. You can catch him on tour throughout the country. He's going all across right now. He's on his way to Atlanta, Kentucky. He's got a big lineup going on until November of 2012 here. And in November, he's going to be heading off to Europe. So doing a lot of good stuff. You can keep up with him again. Go to binghammusic.com. Man,